Hello and welcome to the latest edition, a very special edition of William Hill's Inside Track, brought to you by William Hill live here from Prestbury Park. His name's Barry Geraghty, I'm Jane Mangan, and Barry, it's going to be rapid. We've had the first couple of days of the Cheltenham Festival. How has it gone for you?
Oh, really well, sure. It's a brilliant meeting as always, but a good mix of results. The Irish have done well, the British have done well too.
That was expected, wasn't it? We were expecting a variety.
Yeah, well they were hopeful, but the Supreme we thought we were strong in, and we got whitewashed.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried after we hadn't anything in the first four of the Supreme, but then William Mullins put it to bed.
He did, and Lossiemouth was brilliant. She was the standout performer so far. There's been really good performances, but it was brilliant to see her stamp her mark on the race. People thought there wasn't much between the top 3 or 4 in the market, but she really showed her class and pulled away, and yeah, brilliant to see that. I suppose of the others, to me, riding performances probably stood out. I thought Harry Cobden was brilliant on Kit's Bull.
Yeah, that was exquisite from the front, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And final orders, Conor Stone-Walsh gave that a brilliant ride. Great results for a local syndicate to me, but just a brilliant performance all round. So probably more riding performances were the highlights, with the exception of Lossiemouth maybe.
I'm really pleased for William Hill ambassador Gavin Cromwell. He's had a tough season, so really I'm glad to see his horses back to form. Particularly he was very strong on final orders ahead of the cross country. I want to give a note to Danny Mullins as well on Cargazzi. I thought he was extremely clever on her. Lulamba jumping kind of let him down. Maybe he needs further. Kopek de Board looked like a novice in a novice race, but that mare was so tough.
She was tough. Danny gave her a brilliant ride, judged it really well, quickened in the last half mile, you could say. Paul looked to come and win the race in Kopek, and he just nodded at the back of that. To me, he looked like a horse who could have done with a run. I think maybe you just
can't replicate a run as much schooling as you do.
It's like going the full time in a match. If you pull someone off with 10 minutes to go, you don't get the full exposure to it. It's getting in those last half a mile there. That's really where you feel it, where you feel the burn.
Yeah.
And that probably lacked, but he ran a great race. Lamba, as you say, probably caught for pace, but Danny was brilliant on Cargazzi, and how she pulled out of her run in the Dublin Racing Festival, because my God, she worked hard that day and looked tired.
In contrast to Romeo Coolio, who came out here as flat as a pancake. It just shows you never know how a horse is going to come out of a race.
Yeah, well, his jumping let him down though as well. And I know it happened to me here before years ago at Oscar Whiskey. He was third in the champion hurdle, and we came back around him in the stairs, and you go from racing at a higher tempo to racing at a slower tempo, and some horses just don't switch into that mode. He travelled really strongly at the Dublin Racing Festival last year, which was a step up in what he'd done at Christmas. And I just wonder, was he travelling too well for the race? Because he got in, he hit a couple of fences where he didn't have that steady, easy rhythm he would have had when he won the Drinmore. And I think he was probably just too switched on for it. That was my take. And then you have a bit like Majborough as well then. He went forward, he got a bit brave.
Talk to me about the champion chase, because the record of odds-on favourites, we all know, this isn't the benefit of hindsight, we knew that going in. But I still thought he'd run better for longer than he did. Yeah,
well, I thought he was vulnerable, but he was the right horse. He was the right favourite. He was the best horse in the race. But the performance he put in Leopardstown, to me, was based on soft ground. He annihilated the opposition, because he could go a pace that they couldn't go on that ground. Marine Nationale, Solness, they couldn't travel on it. Yesterday he couldn't get away from the field. Mark had to open him up down the back straight to get away. He jumped well, but then he got a bit brave. I think he gave himself a little bit of a fright. Then he lost his bit of consistency in his rhythm. I'm not sure he had as much in hand going to 3 out as he would have liked, because he wasn't able to get away from the field, or he wasn't able to put the field under pressure on that soft ground. So it was disappointing for Majborough and Majborough fans, but I think the ground is the key to him.
Okay, well, give it credit where it's due. Little Etait, we've never really taken him seriously. He's a Tingle Creek winner. He was given a very patient Paul Townend in Grade 1s. He's just poetry in motion. Pegged at the last, but he won by 10, and he won going away.
He did, but Paul rode a clever race. He rode him to be placed, if you like. Came with a late run then when Majborough had bombed out at that stage, but he saved his powder rather than get caught up in the fight up front. So clever ride by Paul. It's
from watching you all those years.
I wouldn't say that, Jane, but Paul is he's top class.
Talk to me briefly about the bumper. I was keen on the Mourne Rambler, because I really thought Colin Keane was an enhancement, and it's such a novelty to see these top class flat jockeys ride in effectively a jump race, but it is here at the Cheltenham Festival. That was a bit of a treat.
It was, and he gave it a brilliant ride, but came from well back too. Competitive race, they were all there with chances, but Colin found his way through. got a split, and away he went, got there to the front, furlong to go, gave him a kick, and it was a good solid performance. He backed up that form that you mentioned at Leopardstown, but Colin gave him a great ride.
Delighted for Noel Meade,
the
king of the bumpers for so many years in Ireland.
Yeah, exactly, and he's had success here over the years, but it's a place that has troubled him as well. He's had tough times too here with hot pots getting turned over, so it was great to see him get a winner here.
Yeah, okay, well, we kick on to Friday, because Hayley Moore's behind the camera there, and she's telling me, come on, this is premium prize slot here at Cheltenham Festival. We all have to fight our corner. It's like being down at the start for grade 1.
A bit like that, yeah.
Okay, talk to me about the Triumph. Willie has 9 in it. He had the 11 last year. Does he still win it?
Well, he's 9 good chances anyway. The one I've gone with is Selma Devari. I've stayed with her all for the last few weeks. Great run behind Narciso has at Leopardstown the last day. Likely to improve for that because Willie didn't have her long. And Paul Townend has backed up my decision by choosing her, which is definitely a positive. Okay, she's keen. I hope she settles for you. I like Proactiv. It's an unoriginal choice. I know he is favourite. He had a good run when he won in France. He obviously beat Macho Man quite well on his only start for Willie Mullins to date. He's a big, beautiful physical for JP McManus, and I think he'll be my selection in the Triumph. We move on to the William Hill sponsored County Hurdle. Are you with Karbau here? I'm with Karbau here, yeah. I thought ran a good race the last day. Nace had some good form last season in Punchestown and at Aintree, but looked like would improve for that run behind Glenkillen. And yeah, I think can step up on that. Yeah, I think there's a lot of confidence in the Willie Mullins camp behind that one. A little bit like when Carghese ran in that race last year. I'm going to go with Sinatra for the Skelton team. They obviously have such a good record in the county hurdle. They don't have this horse all that long. He came from Paul Nicholls, and I think this may well be a plot. We move on to the mares. Is it just back to back for Dino? It is for me, yeah. She's rock solid. Good winner here last year, but she has form in the book in open company grade 1 level. She's a winner at, for grade 1 in Leopardstown in open company. It's hard to compete with that. Yeah, her form is consistent. She loves the place. She's won here before. Yeah, to me it's all about Dino Blue. Okay, well, I'm going to take you on. She's a bit older than Dino Blue. She's 10 years old now, and it's Panic Attack. She's improved exponentially this season. She won a very competitive handicap chase. She's been well placed, and I think there's a little bit more to come from Panic Attack, and I think any rain that falls will enhance her chances. Onto the Albert Bartlett, the 3 mile for novices. Dr. Steinberg, I was wondering whether they'd go for the Turners. They haven't, but they had, of course, a King Rasco Grey for that. That's worked out okay. It has, absolutely. I thought it was a brilliant performance at Leopardstown to be as keen as he was and then still quicken and go away. We're forecast rain, so soft ground won't be an issue. He proved that day in Leopardstown he can cope with those conditions. A lot of people question him, I think, because he doesn't catch too many people's attention in the Mullins team at home. They didn't excite him too much early. I think he's solid though. He has form against the Devil You Know as well. So no, Dr. Stone, although favourites have a questionable record in the race, but I'm going to stick with this fella. I think he's a good tough stayer. He's like yourself, Barry. He's solid. I'd be with him as well. I think the trip won't be a question mark once Paul Townend can get him to settle. One notable horse at bigger odds, if you want an each-way play, is King's Bucks. He comes in here as a maiden, but a similar profile to Manila Indo, who won the race for Henry de Bromhead a few years ago. Then the big one, the Gold Cup. Not as big a field as maybe I was expecting, but a lot of depth in terms of quality. Take it away. Yeah, the real quality race. The King George form looks brilliant. Where do you go at it? I was against Gaelic Warrior after he ran so keen in Leopardstown, but then when you take in that he ran so well, having been so keen, Gallop in the Champ has dropped out of the race, which was a loss, but it means Paul Townend switches to Gaelic Warrior, and Paul Townend, there's no one better around Cheltenham at the minute than Paul Townend, so I think that's a big plus. So I was slightly against Gaelic Warrior, but I'm coming around to think that Leopardstown form is possibly the strongest. I tend to agree, and I think he may well be the best horse in the race. I hope the rain comes for Spillane's Tower. My heart will obviously be in his camp. Harry Cobden rides him for the first time, with Jack Kennedy claimed by Gordon Elliott to ride Firefox. I think the Jukebox Man is worthy of a mention, as is Etait Calor, who'll be hopefully the pace setting in the race. But if Paul Townend can get Gaelic Warrior to settle, that'll give him every chance of getting those extra 2 furlongs up the hill. That's the Gold Cup done and dusted. If Willie Mullins has a good day, you'll have a good day. If Willie Mullins has a bad day, you have a write-off of a day. So tell me, what's your best bet of the Friday? Best bet of the Friday would be Dino Blue and the mares. I think she's hard to pulse her.
I think there you have a lot of comrades in that department. I'm going to go with Panda Boy as my best bet in the Hunter's Chase for John Gleeson and Martin Brazel. I think he's a horse that was a useful handicapper last year. He's finding the Hunter's Chase scene a little bit cooler waters, and he'll be mine in the Hunter's Chase. So that's a quick wrap. I hope you enjoyed our rapid fire round here. It's freezing, it's going to rain, and Hayley Turner's about to punch me if I don't get out of her camera in any moment. So Barry, enjoy the rest of the Cheltenham Festival.
Cheers, Jan. It's been great.
I hope you guys enjoyed our little rapid fire round and enjoy the final day of what has been a fantastic week.